Marky Worthington Podcast all day.
All day.
Dream by night.
Don't buy me a drink. Just give me $10.
Oh, dude, you look sweet. Yeah, you got a big beard, dude.
Go down to the strip club with your floppy disk and turn it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. Thrown out by Big Tony.
We're here to name names and make people feel more ashamed for shit that they're not proud of.
Me and my best friend, Marky Worthington.
Whatever it is.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Marky Worthington Comedy Podcast. This is episode 128, coming to you for the first show of 2025. Here with return guests on the show. When I say return, it's been a few years. It's Jeremy Smith.
Well, it's been 1 year, I think. But am I a special guest of the show now? Like a special friend of the show? Am I
Officially? Yeah. And just hold that a little closer to your face there, princess.
Don't show that bit. I'm trying to be professional.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the so you are actually a return guest on the show now. Officially, you're a return guest on the show. That makes you a friend of the show.
Excellent.
So I think the last time you were on the show was just before our comedy festival show.
Maybe. Yeah. Yes. Let's say yes.
Yep. Yeah. So our comedy festival show, let me just check the poster, was on the, 22nd of March, 2023.
7 p.m. tickets.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, sorry, I read the whole thing. But
Yeah. Well, that's, you just did more promotion now for the show then.
That was a good show.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, consistently different. I love when I came up with that name, because I came up with it. And yeah. Do you remember we were sitting there, we got that photo, we went to the Baso, we took the photo for the...
I remember that.
So for any of the audio listeners, I've got the poster. Mind you, it's the smallest poster on the wall, but I printed the poster for the show that Jeremy and I did in the Comedy Festival in 2023, put it on the wall with a physical ticket in the poster frame, which was supplied to me from Nathan Hillman. So he actually bought a ticket for the show.
Another friend of the show.
Another friend. Well, he has only been on once.
Oh, right.
So he's just
a
a guest of the show. Yeah. And then put it in a frame. Now, we took that photo. I'll put it up here for the YouTube people because you might not see it.
I should stop looking because you're looking at the back of my head.
Yeah. Just like my comedy career, just behind yours. We took that photo for the poster at the Baso, and then we're like, all right, while we're here, do you want to talk about show name? What are we going to call it?
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
And you were like, I'm thinking just a one name, something sharp, something that makes sense. And I was just like...
You remember this very well. Yeah. I remember being there, but I don't remember the details of the conversation. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, it was a pinnacle part. I remember it because for you, it was like... probably the beginning of where you started to get more gigs, but it was at the peak of mine, so I can only look back.
No, it wasn't. Anyway.
So I was thinking, what can we do? And I was trying to think like, I kind of have this thing where I'm like, I don't ever do two sets the same, even if it's the same material. And that's the only thing that I'm consistent with. It's like never the same. And then you were like, I don't know what to call it though. And then eventually I'm just sitting there for a while. We're throwing a few names around. And the thing is, you're so level. Like I'm so all over the fucking shop.
Yeah, you are. That's true. Yeah.
And I said to you, I was just like, what about consistently different? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I fucking did it. I thought of a name. And you just go... Yeah, let's do that. And I was like, I wasn't sure if you're like, because normally someone's like, we'll put that in as a placeholder and we think of something better, we'll do something else. But you just were straight up, let's do that.
I find it hard to come up with names for these things. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I do remember saying, I think you and I are quite similar in our comedy. We're probably we're a bit similar, a bit sort of, I don't know what words I used, a bit boganish, a bit rough, but we're also quite different. You're sort of younger guy. At that stage, you weren't married. I was married with kids, and so we were sort of similar but different. I think that's
it made sense.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And you've had a comedy festival show since. You did a solo show.
I'm never sure what to do with my hands, Mark. I don't know. Anyway, carry on.
Just well, do you know what you should do?
Yeah.
So what you normally do is you then talk about what your hands are fucking doing.
touching my thighs.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to be present in the moment. Yeah. It's like a meditation process. Just feel your hands and where they exist in the universe.
Yeah, it's very awkward. But anyway, carry on. Yeah, I had to show it.
Just put them on the table. They can just, and then when you lift your hand off, there'll just be a sweaty handprint on there, like in The Sixth Sense when the kid leaves the table. Have you seen that scene? Are you a movie guy?
I've seen The Sixth Sense. But
so there's this really great close-up shot in that movie where the kid puts his hand on the table. Have you put your hand on like a black glass coffee table or something?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
And when you pull your hand away, there's like the foggy outline of the hands, but then it slowly dissipates.
Yep.
It's just a really interesting angle for that scene because what they do is the kid puts his hand on the table, pulls it away, and then like it slowly fades away. Yeah. And it's like a really like cool but metaphorical like scene for the movie because it's about ghosts and shit like that.
I mean, I think I do remember that bit. And the movie is kind of great. Like I remember being a bit spooky when all the doors are open in the kitchen. Remember that? Yeah. But then now I look back at that show and that movie was epic, and the twist.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's crazy
that he wouldn't have realised at some point between when his wife died and the kid says, or he works out that he's dead, that he wouldn't have worked it out. Like that's just absurd, isn't it? Like I mean,
it's one of those movies where I think if not that plus a few other similar movies actually change the way that they do twists in movies, because you know how like. With a twist like that, you can only really do it. Only a few movies can do it, and then before you know it, people start to get it.
Yeah.
Like they were one of the first people to have like a really good twist like that. Whereas if you put out a movie with that kind of twist now, people are like, "Oh, I can see where this is coming." So it was a pinnacle time which can't be recreated.
Yeah, that's a bit like Planet of the Apes, isn't it? Where, that sort of...
That was our planet.
Charlton Heston, the racist guy, whatever he is, he saw the Statue of Liberty, and then they tried with the Marky Wahlberg one to have a twist, and it was just a little bit stupid. Like he came back to Earth, and that was it was just... Do
you want to hear my plot for a sci-fi movie? I don't know if it already exists already, and I just don't know about it, but it's similar to that idea.
You're just going to do what you said you shouldn't do, like just have the same twist, but just...
Yeah, so he was actually dead the whole time. Now, what I'm thinking of is, like, picture, like a couple, one of them dies, but they're really into pottery, and then they come in and they form, like, a sculpture together on a wheel. Like a some sort of, like...
They're in love.
I'm thinking, they're in love. Maybe, like, an English... I don't know, I'm thinking like a old school pottery wheel, maybe some music. Give it just an ominous name like Ghost or something like that.
That'd be beautiful, yeah. I can picture it in my head.
Did you see the car ad that used that same concept? I forgot what company it was, but there was a car ad.
I have seen it.
Yeah, they're designing a car out of clay, and they've got the music playing and everything, and they zoom out, and they've just designed the perfect fucking family car.
I have seen that. Yeah, the other one I recall is when they parodied that in Hot Shots or Hot Shots 2.
Yeah.
The
ad was kind of fucked though because it was a clay car, but it still had black wheels. Really? Like, how did you fuck that up? Well, you got some sort of charcoal clay. Is that plasticine? How's that going to work?
I don't know.
As a design,
it's always possible that could be the way they do it in real life. They do have like little.
Yeah, but your average schlep buying a fucking car doesn't know how they design cars. What are they doing an ad just for car designers? Who are they trying to sell to here?
Know.
Anyway,
good questions. These are good questions, mate.
Yep. And now they exist forever in the world because they're on a podcast which will always exist after this. So the thing that I was getting back to was my idea for a movie. My idea.
Yeah, right. Okay. That wasn't it.
No. Okay. I just seen an opportunity to fucking make people laugh, dude, and I couldn't sit back. So I picturing this idea where So I've just removed an entire section of this podcast. I hope that everyone enjoys that in the future. I'm just timestamping this. We're recording this on the 21st of December, 2024.
It's almost Christmas, yep.
That's going to be timestamped forever. It's going to be removed from this podcast, but it exists on my hard drive. And if that movie ever comes out, I can be like, dude, I called it. Here's a thing I recorded back then from that same plot that someone's now a billionaire.
So you're going to explain it, a lot like you're going to leave the bit on the start saying, this is my movie plot, remove the movie plot.
And then come back.
It was quite good. It was quite good.
Yep, and we're going to come back to me just going like, hey, Jeremy thought that plot was so good that I actually just removed it from this podcast. But I just want everyone to have this I told you so moment.
Technically, I could take it now, though. And you can't undo that.
See, I don't mind if you take it because at least I'm helping a mate out.
Yeah. You're much more proactive than me, Marky, so I'm unlikely to ever take that and turn it into a movie. But that was good. Yeah,
there we go. Hey, good. All right. So... you had we're talking about the comedy festival show before. You had one show that you did. In the meantime, you had one 2024. You did your own solo show.
Yep. Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was good. I really. I don't know. I feel a bit stupid talking about myself, but yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed doing a show, putting together an hour of material, and it's quite satisfying, I guess, to sort of go and do a show. Oh, it sounds ridiculous talking about myself, but no, it was good. I was pleased to get it done, and I think it went pretty well. Look, to be honest, Marky, all the people there were people that I knew, So I don't know if I really sold any tickets. There was one Bucks party there actually that came to the show. There was people who didn't know me, and so there was only really a handful of people there that I was really doing comedy to. Everyone else was there supporting me, so which is still kind of nice. But I
was at the Nick Schuller show, but I heard it went well.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed at that, Marky, but that's okay. That's
no, I was actually bartending for the Nick Schuller show.
Oh yeah,
or whatever. I was working at the festival that night.
No, that's okay, mate. It's but I don't know what else to say about it.
It's one of those things, man, like standard comedian response. I need people to come out to shows, but I hate talking about my upcoming shows, and I don't want people to turn up, but I need them to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So certainly the self-promotion thing is. I think you and I have talked about this before when we were talking about perhaps our show. Is that the idea of self-promotion is just a little bit challenging. Because it's really what I find hard. I'm certain I've talked about this before. Is that it's hard to know how comedy's going to go because it's so subjective. People will come in and listen to it. And it's hard for me to say to Joe Bloggs, "Come and watch my show. Could it be good?" Even though I know I'm going to do okay, but he could think it's absurd. Like he could think it's ridiculous. But that's. I'm pretty sure everyone had a pretty good time, and so that's about all I could ask for, I think. But but it is a real, without sounding like absolute wanker, like it is a real journey, isn't it? To sort of see how your comedy goes and be able to write a show and as opposed to our show, I actually did my full time slot.
You did?
So I didn't because I know, Marky, that I sort of went a bit premature with our show. I didn't sort of get as much done as I should, which left you to fill the gap. But at this one, I sort of did an hour on the dot. Really, I had a couple of sort of filler bits, like a few little video clips to fill some space and break it up a little bit. But I did do my full hour, which was good. I was worried I was going to get 22 minutes in and then run out of stuff to say.
Yeah.
Which is good.
No, you already did that bit.
I already did.
Yeah, you had a bit that was your bit.
Yeah.
Your bit was you did 22 minutes and ran out of shit. So you didn't want to do the same material the next year.
That's right.
It's kind of
done that.
You were planning on doing just 22 minutes, but I did that last year, so I've got to think of something new.
Yeah, I need to go back and check the time because the 22 minutes is the time that gets talked about quite a bit between you and I. But I think it was actually 24 minutes. Like I don't think it was 22 minutes. I don't know where those other 2 minutes have gone, but I think it was technically 24 minutes. And so I don't know.
We can always pull up the tape. We
Yeah,
could be
might
like
need to check the evidence. This
sports
is right.
commentators just going through the replay. You can
Yeah.
see here he's fumbled there at 22 minutes.
It could be 23 minutes and 20 seconds, and so I've sort of rounded up. But
Look,
anyway,
I'll split the difference with you.
we'll go to 23.
I tell you what's
Anyway.
good. Let's. I think collectively we've talked about it for more than an hour of
Yeah, that's
that time.
I filled the time slot.
So you just basically gave it to me on tick. Like you're like, over the next 12 months, we'll talk about this for at least 8 minutes.
So I think, yeah,
which
since
will
then
make up the difference.
we've done, at least a solid 2 hours of material on that.
I think so. Our next show should be called Consistently Short.
Which is describing you.
Yeah. Well, I've never been tall. Like, how
No,
fuck
no,
would
that's
that
the
be?
same.
Like a
I've
bad hair day, you wake up and you're like, fuck, I'm short today.
I'm not. I'm not tall either. Like it's terrible. Like I wish I was taller.
No, because then we
don't
wouldn't
you?
be comedians. Like, if we didn't have to make up for our height with personality, then we'd be able to just get through life.
Yeah, look, I'm making up for a lot of things, Marky. Like awkwardness, social awkwardness, the inability to focus on anything. That's depression. Like, comedy is making up for a lot of things besides my lack of height. Yeah,
Do you think that, so you're making up for the lack of complete package?
lack of a lot of things. Yeah,
See,
complete lack of package.
but if this was like, I don't know if there's any gamers out there that get the fucking reference, but when you play like a role play game, right? There's attributes, like you have a character that'll be like more strength, more whatever.
Yeah.
Do you find that if you were to describe your attributes, would they, instead of having one that's like a 10 and one that's like a 2, you're just like 5 across the board?
Look, I hope so, but
Is that
probably
what your
not.
goal is, or what's your end game? Like, we're talking about making up for attributes. Like, you're like, all right, I'm good at comedy, but I lack in this thing. Do you think it's better to be like that, or just to be a straight 5 across the board?
Look, I think it's hard to say anything's better. It is what it is. But
Works for you, I guess.
well, I mean, I think the best I can hope for is just being a bit more level across the board. But average everything, like an average person. But I'm probably sometimes this sounds really self-loathing, but I'm just a little bit shit at everything.
Yeah.
Just
Like a
not
3.
average. Not average across the board.
Okay, 3
Below
across
average,
the board,
yeah, that's
below average.
But
Should we go consistently below average?
it's too long.
Consistently indifferent. The return show, indifferent.
Inconsistently
Yeah. I know.
inadequate. Something like that. I don't know. It's
Consistently inadequate.
it's not. Sorry, that sounds like I'm ragging on myself, but not really. Like I think I spent and I think a lot of people do, spend a lot, big periods of their life sort of thinking, there's expectations of what you need to be.
Yep.
And if you don't meet that, then there's something wrong with you. But I think I've tried to be normal, so to speak. But I'm not. And now I'm okay with that, I think. And comedy is a great place to, probably the only place you can really exploit being a bit weird, can't you? I can't do that in my job, being a bit weird.
I've managed to get this far being the weird one in the jobs.
Really?
Yeah. But the
You're
thing
an IT,
is,
though.
yeah. It's consistently weird.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think there's a lot in that, what you said there about like not being able to focus on things, right? Do you ever find that like it's not so much about what you think the standard is, but more so about you managing your expectations to realize that being abnormal is okay?
Yeah, a bit of both. I think, what not normal has become so distorted.
And abnormal isn't really a thing either, because you can't really benchmark normal, so you can't really benchmark abnormal.
Yeah. I think that's right. And I think, normal or right in society.
That's what they call me at the gym, benchmark, dude.
Yeah. That's good. Boom, boom. Normal is normal
At work,
or
they
what's
call
good
me 5-minute Mark.
is so distorted that most people, I would say, are abnormal. Really,
Yeah.
And I think what's happening that people, I'm a parent, obviously. Well, not obviously, but
It's
obviously
pretty
because
obvious
I
at
know
this
I
point,
am. That's right, because I'm wearing.
It's
the shirt.
obvious to you, yeah.
That's right.
She dressed up like the dude from Blue's Clues.
But raising kids, everyone's saying, I don't know what Blue's Clues is. Do we need to explain that?
Yeah, no. So so Blue's Clues was a cartoon, but they had like a dude in there as like kind of the presenter of it, and he would kind of just be he was like kind of dressed up like you, and he would just go
Winner.
Yeah, he would just go like, I don't know, Blue, let's find some clues. He was kind of the MC of it. Like he'd be like, oh, let's go and check this out. He was kind of like the helping hand for the show. But I don't know whether it's a good comparison because I think there was something that came out recently about him being like violent or something. But yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, no, that's about right.
But I mean, you're dealing with fucking puppets all day. I mean, eventually you're going to get fucking worked up.
And I think you go into puppetry and there's something wrong in the first place.
Yeah, well, the real clue that they should have fucking solved is why does this cunt want to hang out with puppets all day?
That's not.
That's a bit of a mystery to me.
It's like somebody who wants to go into a dog washing business. So that's not a normal thing to do.
Yeah, why would you make your job something that like is annoying? Unless you're like, yeah, I feel like people that go into dog washing business, like I like dogs, right?
I like dogs too, but
I'm not going to fucking wash other people's. It's like someone with a foot fetish being like, oh, I'm going to be a podiatrist. I just want to help out. That's your own.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, thank you. I was trying to think of that one. Yeah. Go to foot medicine, like that's.
Yeah, the whatever. I tell you what's funny. This is the way that I thought of it. I was like, podiatry, what the fuck is that? Oh, that's the foot thing. That's like a foot vet job. I'm like, I was like, because I was thinking, like, why is it called podiatry? It's like they're not called, like, they're called feet, not Pete. Why is it fucking podiatry? Like, wasn't it fetiatry? Like, it's never the same word, is it? It's a bit like why do we call it a cobweb? They're not called cobblers, they're called spiders. It's called a spider web.
I hadn't thought of it, cobweb.
Yeah, cobweb. What? Cob?
Yeah.
What the fuck? G'day, cobber. Like, what the fuck? I don't see a spider and like, there's a cob up there.
Look at that cob
Yeah, look.
his web.
Yeah, there's cob.
I know
Maybe
they do.
cobblers
At
and
some stage Google
spiders
Cobweb. There's got to be a reason.
used to have different names, but they switched it because it was like scary. They're like, oh no, we need to have something scarier because cobbler isn't scary enough. No. Let's switch it with those creepy cunts that make shoes. They're pretty scary.
Cobblers are becoming scary. If you look at the shoe fixing places in shopping centre, Mr. Minute, the people working there are becoming, like, once upon a time, I'm sure cobblers were pretty neat people, but
yeah. Cobblers are, it's a forgotten art, isn't it? Like, I feel like someone that would go together with a cobbler is probably a podiatrist because they're both into feet.
as in they get along like they've been mates.
Yeah. They're like, look, I can fix your shoes, but this guy can fix your feet. So if you want to go to this guy.
Yeah. In cahoots, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think...
Like when you get a home loan and they're like, this is a really good insurance company, they get kickbacks.
I just think these days cobblers are surrounded by too many...
Hey, that's comedy for you.
Yeah,
that's comedy for you. You see what I did there? You don't realise this. 7 years of comedy, this flew under the radar.
Yeah,
I somehow tied. I sometimes somehow tied.
Yeah, tired.
Podiatry, cobbler, both feet, and I said when they refer people, they get kickbacks. Like, that is fucking.
And thank you for bringing us back to that, Mark, because I did.
That nearly died on the vine.
Yeah. And I think stopping and
momentum,
bringing attention to it was worthwhile. I think that was.
It's better than whatever the fuck you were going to say.
Probably.
No, so you were saying you're. I think that you're right, though. I think that some people choose professions based on their own motives instead of, and they're just like, own motives. I was going to say motivations.
Tired and and motives. Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking of like, what's it, like a hidden intent? Like it's like a ulterior motive or whatever the fuck. What's it?
Like subconscious type thing?
No, ulterior motive.
Yeah.
It's like, I just really want to help people's feet. And it's like, no, dude, you got a fucking foot fet and you're masking it as I'm a podiatrist.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, imagine that. Imagine how fucking much easier life would be if I was attracted to fucking feet instead of tits. How much easier is it to get a good foot pic than it is to get fucking... Like, imagine people are paying you. Oh, yeah. And also, if you like feet, you like the fucked up ones. Whereas I like tits, you need a fucking normal, like, fucking decent set. I don't get off because a tit's fucking fucked up. Like, I need a good set.
Well, maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, how much easier... I sometimes just think to myself, how much easier life would be if my brain was wired so that I liked fucked up feet instead of, like, fucking shit that everyone else likes. It's like a low... You're talking about supply and demand. Well, there's your fucking foot fet shit. It's everywhere. You can get it, like, you can go to the beach. It doesn't even need to be a nudist beach.
Yep.
To foot fet people, every beach is a nudist beach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess feet are just out there, aren't they? Like,
They're just out there. They're careless with their feet.
People wearing thongs. Like,
They're just like, oh, that's a good tootie.
I've got a song about a foot fetish, actually. I'll sing it in the show this year, but I have a song about foot fetish. Yeah, that's,
Hey, tying it back to the show.
Yeah, that's...
Now, what were you saying? You're obviously a parent.
Man, that's, and I'm obviously a parent. I am a parent. And I think, it's hard to... Everyone's talking these days about kids having conditions, like ADHD or autism or this. Everyone's saying everyone's got something these days, which is kind of true. Like, I sort of think I have ADHD. I'm pretty sure, Marky, you've got ADHD or something similar. But everyone seems to have something that they need to...
So I was distracted by what you're doing with your hands.
Everyone needs to have something to... I think it helps them understand how they either do or don't fit into the world, right? But... I think the problem is that, our modern society has become so unnatural, abnormal. Nobody really fits into it. And so, as opposed to kids are having lots of issues these days, is that we've created a society that's so abnormal that nobody really fits in. Like, I spend 7.5 hours a day sitting in an office working. That's pretty abnormal for a human being to be in that sort of situation. Like, I've got a pretty good job, but and then you sort of go home and you got to make a meal and you got to wash your clothes and this sort of routine that you have, which is all fine. Like, I've got a great life, but it's not
Are we
normal.
convincing here?
but it's just not normal, and so it's not surprising that everyone is finding it a bit hard to cope, so to speak, or to fit into the world, because the world is just not a normal place anymore. It's just so unnatural what human beings are, is that we are abnormal. Well, the world's abnormal. It's not us. Like, we're normal, but the world is just so weird and contrived, and that nobody really fits in. And if you do fit in, there's probably something wrong with you, I'd say. But
yeah, I think you're too compliant if you fit in. If you like, you don't have that drive to listen to yourself, because our bodies have always wanted to do more than what we're doing, right? We've spent centuries building, thousands of years, millenniums, developing. Well, I'm trying to say something smart here, fuck you. So developing who we are today, and it's only in the last 100 years that we've refined that to fucking sitting at a desk or sitting in a car, and our bodies are screaming, hey, we've got this purpose-built thing to hunt and to collect and to, like, do all this shit and to watch out for predators and to, like, do all these manual things that we've developed over thousands of years. And in the last 100 years, we're going to make all those purpose-built fucking things focus on one thing all day and not move. So our bodies are screaming for stimulation because we're not getting it from our jobs. But the problem is, instead of using that energy and that, like, those skills to go out and hunt for shit that we're built for, we're using it to earn money to get that food. So the things you're doing all day sitting at your desk, you're spending that 7.5 hours to earn money so that you can buy the shit instead of hunt for it.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you spend your last few hours at the end of the day doing the prep work and cooking and getting all the stuff, when really we would have been doing that during the day, and by the time the sun goes down, we rest up so we can do it all again tomorrow. So we're throwing our whole purpose-built system out.
I think you're exactly right, man. I think life has become such a narrow. I know we have all these options these days to study and to work and different jobs and to travel and all that sort of stuff. But I think our life, human life has become pretty narrow in terms of what we do. We go to school and we learn about maths, we learn about English. Then we go to high school, we learn about the same thing again. Then we go to uni, then we go to work. Yeah, certainly Australia, like life has become pretty narrow, and so it's not surprising that most people fall outside of what is a pretty narrow construct of being a person.
Yeah.
And so it's not surprising that everyone's a bit abnormal when this normal is so
Lineal.
prescribed.
Yeah. And it's like, this is how everyone's got to act from now.
Yeah,
It's like,
yep.
and like I said before, you're compliant. Well, you're not listening to your body and saying, I need to get out, I need to do this, I need to, like, my brain doesn't focus on this thing. So I'm gonna, like, make it focus on this one thing instead of what it wants to do. So you're constantly fighting that, like, instead of letting it go. And people that can just sit there all day and stare at the screen or whatever and fight the urges to get up and do stuff are either numbing themselves so that they don't let the urges take them away, or they're just content with that. They've lost their own drive to listen to themselves and do things that they want to do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But there probably are some people that are quite suited to this very narrow.
They adapt quickly.
Well, some people probably, pretty immobile and, can focus on something for a long... there's obviously a whole bunch of different personality types, and some of them probably can just focus on something for, 6-7 hours a day. But I think you're right. I think there's lots of people trying to shoehorn themselves into... It might not just be an office job where you're sitting in front of a computer all day. Like people are shoehorning themselves into careers or jobs or things. Like lawyer, not because they are a good lawyer, they're a good researcher, they're a good arguer, or can retain lots of information. They're cutthroat scumbags. They're shoehorning themselves into that because of the profile that lawyers have within community. They make lots of money. There's plenty of TV shows about them. So aside from there's probably narrow description of life and what is a normal life. There's probably only a few people that fit within that, and then in around that, there's all these people sort of shoehorning themselves into certain types of jobs that they're not suited to. And I've sort of been, I've done that countless times. Sort of gone into a job that I'm probably not really that cut out for, and been fired. Like, no, I wasn't, but yeah,
You fired yourself.
Yeah, in essence, yeah. I think it's hard to fit in these days.
The problem is I look at this from my perspective because I can't see it from other people's. I can understand someone else's perspective, but when I say that, like, people that, like, numb themselves to do this, that's because that's what I would have to do.
Yeah.
But someone might be completely content with it, and good on them. I fucking wish sometimes I could turn it off and be like that. But from my perspective, the only way that I can really do it is I've found ways, because I also work at a desk job. Surprise, surprise, haven't quit the day job. Comedy fans. I find ways within my desk job to switch it up a little bit by giving myself that, like, task switching. So that not many people can no one can multitask. It's a fucking myth. There are just people that can adapt to a new task and switch quickly between them. So some people take a while to sync with a new task, or like to get up to speed or readjust their focus, whereas some people can do it quicker. If you can quickly switch between tasks, that's the closest you can get to multitasking. You can only really focus on one at a time properly, but some people are quicker. I'm pretty good at switching between tasks, so I just constantly will go, as soon as I start to lose track or I start to lose concentration on a task, because I work in IT, I can quickly switch to another task and start working on that. And that's how I keep... It's like, have you ever played that game where you like get a balloon and you just pop it up in the air and then someone... It's like volleyball, but...
Keep you up here.
Yeah, it's like that. And I just will have... All my tasks will be like the people in the room and my focus is the balloon. And I will just... Once it's out of reach of one person, the next closest task that grabs my attention gets done. So I'll get to the end of the day. Instead of completing one task an hour for 8 hours, I'll do like multiple tasks, still complete 8 a day, say, for example, but I'll just like cooking, I'll make sure they all finish at the same time. When you're cooking multiple things, like I'll start the meat because it takes longer to cook. I'll start this later. And then at the end of the meal, everything's hot and ready at the end of the meal. Whereas that's like my tasks. Throughout the day, everything's done by the time I finish, but I've just done it in smaller parts and separated it.
Yeah, and so I think I'm a bit the same, Marky, where, I think it's a bit of ADHD, not being able to focus on something for... That sounds negative the way you say it, but needing to sort of have different stimulation throughout the day, I guess, is the same sort of thing. And there's probably are people who can focus on things for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what people are suppressing when they have an office job is that sort of human need to be outside, to be active. And I think there is this element of suppression. I certainly think that there's people who are going into jobs or roles that they don't sort of sit there and think, hang on, am I suited to this role? They're just thinking about either what appears good or sounds good, or not really what is the image of the job rather than what they're suited to doing. There's definitely bits of people doing that, but anyway, what's normal doesn't really exist, does it? Not really.
No,
I'm certainly not normal, but
yeah, I think that it's just catering for different personality types instead of classifying what normal is and differentiating when people aren't matching that mold. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think increasingly it's becoming less and less. As I said before, I think we think there's more diversity in life. I think diversity is diminishing. Like jobs are working on a computer these days. Like that's sort of what jobs are. Like
it's the virtual world.
Yeah,
the brain can still feel like it's doing stuff without leaving the desk. You just need to keep it active. Like picture like if you've got like a VR headset on. As far as your brain knows, you're running around in the bush. Like you're still doing stuff. You're physically not.
Yeah.
But you can stimulate the brain into thinking that it's doing things.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's still getting the stimulation, the dopamine and all that sort of stuff from being stimulated, but it's just not from how it used to be stimulated. So instead of changing your environment to stimulate the brain how it's used to being stimulated, you just find a new way to get attention.
Get attention.
And that's why we do stand-up comedy.
It's going to get hot in here. Really, it's hot in here.
It is, yeah. So
I'm happy to keep on talking, but I'm just...
I
needed to say it because I'm sweating.
Yeah. No, that's the rule. As soon as you mention it, we have to take a break. So, yeah, exactly. Speaking of office jobs, HR of Marky Worthington Comedy will be fucking on me about this shit. Let's take a break. We'll be back after the break. Cheers. Please flip over the tape to side B to hear the rest of this podcast. Hey, welcome back from the break. All right, we're going to kick it off with an on this day. So this episode's released on January 6th.
Yep.
Or 6th of January here in Australia. And we're going to go through this on this day here. So on the 6th of January, let's look at this. Jeremy, we got the In 1649,
Good year.
English rump parliament votes put Charles
The
on-
first.
Charles the First on trial and other high crimes.
I sort of think if you're starting with that on this day, it must have been a pretty boring day.
Yeah, back in 1649, not a big day.
Not a lot going on.
However, look at this one, Jeremy. This is your one. So the second one here. What year have we got on this day
In 1912,
Yep.
geophysicist and meteorologist Alfred Wegener, I don't know if I pronounced that right, sorry Alfred, presents his controversial theory of continental drift in a lecture at the Geological Association, at the Senckenberg Museum, Frankfurt.
The controversial theory of continental drift.
1912.
In 1912, it was considered controversial to theoreticize about the fact that the continents may be drifting.
Yeah. He was crazy, Alfred. He was really a fringe scientist.
Now,
yep.
we've got 1941. On this day in 1941, this is hot news off the press. 1941. Get ready for this. Anyone that doesn't know this already, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt makes just to keep that in mind. We're going back to Roosevelt. Makes his 4 freedoms speech. Freedom, speech, and worship. Freedom from want and fear during the U.S. State Union Address.
I mean, it's interesting because it's going to contrast with one a bit later that we'll talk about. But speech and worship, want and fear, freedom from want and fear in America.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've met that one.
Yeah, they've had since 1941.
Yeah,
Has anyone
had a bit
ever
of time.
like when you get given a task like, all right, you've got till Friday to do this, you're like, can I get more time? How much more time do you need? 1941, just like, hey, can I get an extension on that want and fear?
It is the government. They probably stretched it out a little bit.
They write the rules so they can break them. It's how it works.
And probably some open to interpretation from want and fear. We need more guns to prevent fear.
We need to define want and fear so we know what we need to prevent.
And they probably adjusted the interpretation of want and fear over the years. But yeah,
now you've got the next one on this day.
1987. Wow, very recent. Astronomers at University of California see first sight of birth of a galaxy.
Nice. Birth of a galaxy. I wonder if
what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's like, oh, the galaxy's crowning. Oh fuck! It's got a fucking.
forceps.
There's a stage 4 tear in the black hole.
That's kind of strange. Yeah.
Yeah. They turned the black hole into a uni hole with a stage 4 tear. The birth of that fucking galaxy. Yeah. They actually also said, the astronomers in 1987, they were like, so it turns out after the birth of the galaxy's partner just is turned off by sex with the galaxy for a little bit after watching that birth. Something about watching the birth of that galaxy peeking through that whatever it was, the black hole, actually just turned them off. I don't know why they're having performance issues in the galaxy after watching the birth. But going into the 2021, supporters of on this day, 2021, supporters of US President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol in Washington during congressional certificate of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris win, resulting in 5 deaths and putting evacuation of lawmakers and Vice President Mike Pence.
So I assume those people generally were free of want and fear while they were storming. So Franklin Roosevelt would have been stoked.
Yep.
On this day.
Who would have thought? It only took a mere, well, we're talking round figures here. It only took 80 years from, 41 through to 2021. We're talking 80 years there.
To recognise freedoms. 4 freedoms, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And who knows, we're pre-recording this episode at the end of December. There might be an additional entry to this, who knows. But for now, that's our on this day through history. All right, now, our next one. So what we've got is we're going to start with an idiom. I found a website that tells us both, and the website is boardpanda.com, where we read the idiom. You tell me how you think that came about. I'll tell you how I think it came about. Then we read the actual origin of the idiom.
Yep.
Now, this one here kind of puts us off a little bit because it shows a picture, quite a wild picture of a bloke smoking a fucking pipe.
With his
service gossip.
And he's got his helmet on, like his war helmet.
So here it is. The idiom is put a sock in it. Now, I thought that this idiom came up because legitimately, like, someone was talking and someone just walked up and jammed a fucking sock in their mouth. And that stopped them from talking.
Possible, yeah.
What's your thoughts on it? Or do you know if you know the actual origin?
No, I don't. I mean, I must admit, I'm looking at the picture. I'm sort of using that as a bit of a guide, but I wonder whether it's around musical instruments, putting a sock in there to dull the sound in small locations too.
Yeah.
This could be really embarrassing, like saying some stupid idea about how a saying came about.
Yeah. That's
which
the
could
point
just
of
be
the bit.
really... Yeah, right. Okay, so me looking stupid. Anyway, so I assume it's
I'm here
using a
with
sock to dull the noise.
It's a new bit called Idiots Doing Idioms.
That's what it should be called. Yeah. I assume to in things like saxophones, trumpets, because they now have that little metal thing they put in there to dull the sound a bit. But
the little butterfly valve or whatever it is. Oh no, it's like a thing they just jam in there.
Front. Yeah, they just
like in cartoons where they put in the musket and the fucking Bugs Bunny just blows the whole thing up.
But I assume it's around music. But I mean, what they're doing there seems to be pretty good.
We're hunting wabbits, Jeremy. See,
that's another.
Third bit. I knew it was coming.
That's coming up in the show.
Yeah, good. Little teaser there. All right, let's look at the actual. What the fuck is about? So let's look at the actual. The meaning, stop talking. Origin. In late 19th century, people would use woolen socks to stuff the horns of their gramophones or record players to lower the sound, since these machines had no volume controls.
So that was the picture, which...
Do you reckon this guy just told his record player to shut up? Just walked over and was like, oh, he put his sock in. What's his voice? Let's do this guy's voice. Say, like, how he would tell his record player to put a sock.
I'm going to put a sock in my gramophone while I'm smoking my pipe.
See, mine sounds more like this. It's like, got to get ready for it. So, mine sounds like this. He's just like... God. No, it sounds like this. He's just like... It sounds kind of like you've seen in Reservoir Dogs, there's the guy that organises the whole thing with that staunch old voice.
Yeah, yep.
He's like that. He's just like, I thought I told you to put a fucking sock in it.
That guy probably does. Like,
yeah. Notice how the S is kind of shaped like a sock? Do you reckon?
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
I think that's a great graphic. All right. Next one. Son of a gun.
So, I'm curious about the spelling, son.
Yeah, because
gun.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I've always assumed, and I still assume that it's son, S-O-N, son, as in child of a gun. You're a son of a gun.
You can read the meaning if you want to help give context.
Oh, right. Yeah, so, a son of a gun, you're a son of a gun, you're pretty wild, or you're pretty...
An affectionate
pretty
way of
much-
addressing somebody, yeah.
But I mean, the sayings, they're a bit wild, aren't they? Like you're a son of a gun, like you're a...
It is. It's a bit like son of a gun, like when it comes to using condoms, he's a bit of a son of a gun. Like he's liberal with his fucking
Like, oh, mate,
application
you-
of his 11-inch condom dick.
Hasn't used often.
So yeah, it's a bit like, oh, he's a son of a gun. Like, so if I was going to say this, I would say, where did the origin come from? So working out the meaning is someone that you just like a playful way of addressing somebody. You know, it's another way of saying son of a bitch, basically. Like, look at this fucking crazy son of a bitch.
No, but that is saying something about someone as a son of a bitch. That person's a son of a bitch. You're saying they're a bad person.
Yeah.
This is a son of a gun. And so someone's a bit fiery or a bit...
Oh,
you know,
fuck. I just think I've narrowed down where I think the origin is. This is my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So, just like son of a bitch, right? You're saying, like, that person is, like, comes from bad blood, you know?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Son of a gun is like saying, this dude's mum fucked a gun. No, this dude is so, like, wild that his father must have been a firearm.
Yeah. That's what I think they're saying. I'm just thrown by the sun, S-U-N, spelling it in such a way, but, you know, it is the internet. But I'm more interested in a young child there with the M60 machine gun.
Yeah.
I assume he's
Which is a
in
good
American school.
good reference to Trump's America that we
that's
spoke
right.
about earlier.
So, like the saying's an idiom, isn't it? Well, so it's how to identify something, but that's probably pretty normal.
And where would it come
primary
from?
school. It'd have to come from the States, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking that, all right, so I'm going to say origin.
Is your father was a gun and you've also a bit wild like a gun,
Yeah.
fiery,
I think that the origin
which is a good thing.
Oh, the origin was whenever someone was buck wild and they didn't know their father, they would just always chalk it up to like, oh, he's the son of a gun.
Yeah. So specifically referring to people who don't have children.
Yeah, who didn't know their
sorry,
father.
who didn't know their father. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it was like
okay.
the default setting. Like they're like, oh, you're the milkman.
You're
It was
a
like the old
bastard.
word of saying, old way of
You're
saying,
a wild bastard.
yeah, if you didn't know your father and you're a wild bastard, they're like, well, your father must have been a gun.
Yeah, that's that. Yep.
Even deeper than that, what if the reason it's the opposite way? They're not naming them after guns. Guns were named after one wild fucker that invented guns, that they're like, oh, you're the son of a gun. It's like saying like the person that invented guns also made guns.
Was a nut job.
And
yeah.
he just used to fuck. Like he had guns and fucked, dude. And if you're the son of a
Probably did.
gun,
Yeah.
you're either fucking, because he like produces people and fucking takes them out too. He's both sides.
Yeah, right. Duplicitous.
He's net zero carbon emissions.
What's really strange, like this, I've got a kid holding an M60, like a fairly gnarly gun.
Yeah.
Then in the background there's a private jet.
It looks like a Power Rangers around
And there
there.
appears to be people dressed in
Like Deadpool and Wolverine, they called it, even before the
in
like,
superhero outfits. Like,
holy fuck.
What is this kid doing here? Like this is like a rich kid at a fancy dress party.
yeah, it looks like a parallel
He's-
version of fucking Justin Bieber.
In his dad's and he looks like he's got a face tattoo.
Yeah, he does. He's got a target.
Tears.
He's
Anyway.
got tears tattooed on his face. Yeah. All right. So let's have a look. Origin. Back in the day, sailors would sometimes take their wives on long ocean voyages. It was believed that if the woman gave birth on ship, it should take place between the cannons on the ship's gun deck. Since this was the most secluded place, because of this reason, a child that was born on a ship would be called a son of a gun.
What? That seems a bit of a... was that really happening a lot where, women were giving...
But
such that it
imagine if
generated an idiom? Like that seems...
Yeah, but imagine if it was used as an actual description. Hey, this is my mate Jeremy. He's the son of a gun. Like, it doesn't make
means-
sense. Like,
which means his mum was
oh,
sprawled
hi,
across the deck.
Jeremy. Yeah, so your mum gave birth to you between the cannons on the ship. I also think that it's a thing, like, if you were born on a ship, you're probably, like, a bit of a wild sort of operation in your home life. So you're probably just more likely to be more of a loose cunt. So eventually it was, like, coincidental. They're just like, well, the Venn diagram of fucking son of guns and wild fuckers is nearly a circle, so let's just start using it to refer to loose people.
Look, having spent time in the Air Force, Navy people were always pretty wild. Like they were out of all the services, Navy people were pretty wild. Back in the day, and sailors would sometimes take their wives on long ocean voyages. Like, was that really happening? Like, come on, honey, let's go on a long ocean voyage on this warship because it's got cannons there, and then at some stage she was just giving birth.
Meanwhile, she's 6 months pregnant. Let's bring her fucking. I've got a 3-month voyage. She's 6 months pregnant. Let's just fucking see if we can. This will either happen on the road or like on the ocean, or we'll get to our destination.
Yeah,
also, that's because, we know the real reason why you bring in your wife. Because the sailors got sick of fucking each other. So they're like, I'm sick of you. I don't care if your wife's fucking pregnant, dude. You have to bring her because you get too towy when we're out in the ocean.
Yeah.
So that means there's some psycho fuck that brought his fucking pregnant wife to still continue having sex with her while they're on the ocean. And she's fucking, like, heavily pregnant.
Yeah. Back in the day, because it was back in the day, that's just what happened.
Yeah,
there was lots of other things that happened back in the day, and it was pretty crazy. They were sons of guns back then.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reason that those people became wild people, what sort of home life are you going to give a kid if you can't go for more than a couple months without sex? And that what sort of sexual frustration are you going to go bringing up a fucking child? This is why because they didn't hug their fucking kids because they weren't in touch with their emotions. Yeah. Then you raise a kid, he becomes a fucking son of a gun because he's constantly craving fucking attention.
My libido is so wild, I need to take my wife to work.
It's buck wild.
It's buck.
Imagine that today.
Oh, wow.
Look, I can't get for an 8-hour work day. So I've just brought my wife into the office so that we can have sex throughout the day because I just can't last until the end.
And then at some point she's going to have a baby. You need to find somewhere secluded.
Yeah. And then, so are we looking...
Like the change rooms or the...
I reckon it'd be in the services room, the print.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a son of a...
Konica.
You're a son of a printer.
Son of a printer. Yeah, well, Konica's a deep cut. That's a standard brand for... Son of a cannon.
You're a son of a Wi-Fi
It's
hub.
a different type of cannon.
Yeah, that was very good. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was son of a cannon.
Which is what they should have been called.
One day somebody would be doing this back in the day when guys, would take their wives to the office and...
So they couldn't go for 8 hours without sex.
In between printers because that's the most secluded place. And they were called son of a cannon.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. Yep.
This is my friend Jeremy. He's had 4 son of cannons.
Oh, man.
All right. Our final one for
I
this.
hope that kid's all right. He looks a bit...
Yeah, I don't know when this was written. He's probably like 24, has a YouTube channel. He's earning more than me. I think he's
He was
fine.
probably the guy in the Las Vegas shooting, I'd say.
All right. Best man. Shit. Why is it called that? I know what after being recently married man, I get what it is, being a best man, but what's the origin of the name? Why would they call them that?
You sort of go for the, Occam's razor. The most simplest thing is the best explanation. So the best man is the groom's best man.
Would you say Oculus?
Occam's razor. That's
Occam's razor.
We could go into the origins of that, but Occam's razor is the simplest explanation.
Is often the best.
Is often correct or often the best or...
But what a fucking complicated name for a simple fucking thing.
Yeah, and so...
Why is it a razor?
Where I've tripped up now is I can't explain the origins of Occam's razor, but that's what it means. But
I'd say that'd be the simplest explanation would be the best way to just...
Occam had a razor,
yeah.
and it was just Occam's razor, and so
I feel like it's because it's like a fine point, like a razor. Like it's the quickest way to get to the answer is often the best, like a razor. Like it's a pointed implement.
That's number 28 is Occam's razor. The origins
Why
of
did you
Occam's.
say it? Did you think that would impress me and the viewers, and you had to you craved that?
I think so. I think a little bit of me thought that was going to sound uber intelligent. Uber intelligent.
Yeah, it's
Uber.
fucking mad intelligent, bruh.
Um,
Uber.
So, yeah, best man. Like I think I have heard this one before, but I can't remember what it was. But I thought it was
I can
something
tell
about.
the viewers liked that, by the way. They hated that I talked about it, but they liked that you added logic to the podcast for once.
Yeah, that's what I do. Anyway, back to best man.
Best man. So what would be the Occam's razor of this, do you reckon? The simplest
it's a groom's
answer.
the closest friend of the groom, the best man that he can find.
Yeah.
And I think if
Let's look at this picture, by the way. Do you reckon he's the best man he
one
can
looks
find?
like Hamish. What's his face off Lego Masters? Hamish, what's his name? The better one out of Hamish and Andy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hamish out of Not Andy.
that's right. And strange that
Blake?
Andy's not his best man. But
Is it Hamish Blake?
Hamish Blake, yeah.
Blake,
So
yeah.
I don't know why Andy wasn't the best man, but
It kind of looks a little bit like parallel universe Hamish and Andy.
yeah, I guess so. But we all understand that Andy's not the best man. Like,
Yeah.
he's
No,
riding
Andy's the
coattail.
groom. I reckon that Hamish is the best man in this.
Oh, right.
Do you reckon?
They should be dressed differently, shouldn't they? Anyway, so I assume it was the one that you could trust not to. This is what I'm thinking: is it was the one person you could trust to help you through the wedding that wouldn't try
The best man for the job.
the best man for the job, but wouldn't try and nail your wife to be.
Yeah.
So who's
Or
best?
if someone was going to nail her, the best one to do it.
The one you're okay with.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? All right, man, I don't want anyone to, but if someone is,
I want it to be you.
I want
it to be Andy.
I want it to be Andy. Or Hamish, whichever way.
Yeah. Did you have a best man? I didn't have a best man.
Didn't
at
you?
my wedding, no.
You didn't know anyone.
I
You're
didn't
just
have.
like, I don't fucking need. None of you were good.
Look, I think my wife knew that
got-
I wasn't the best man. I didn't need to rub her in her face by bringing someone to the wedding and say this man's the best man. He's better than me.
Yeah.
She already knew she was punching down, and had settled. I didn't need to bring someone better than me to the wedding to make that.
That's
evident.
a good point. Don't bring the best man. Bring the fucking worst man.
Yeah,
So
bring some
you look like the
junkie,
new
yeah.
best.
Homeless junkie, and
Yeah.
that's going to make you look pretty good. She goes, "Oh, thank goodness I married you." But the best man. At some point, your wife's going to go. Your fiance is going to go. Hang on, this guy's all right, but right there is the best man.
Yeah.
Should I be?
You chose the best man.
Maybe sort of. That's the test, isn't it? You bring the best man you can find, and if your wife goes through with it, then she's locked in.
Oh.
She's weighing up. You've got two men there. One is you. One is the best man. If she picks you, then she's pretty committed.
That's true, actually. You go and find the best man, and she goes, well, if this is the best man and you're still better than him, I know I've chose the best from the bad bunch.
Yeah, like a really passive-aggressive test for your wife. That's
Yeah,
a good way
yeah.
to start, isn't it? It's a good way to start a marriage by saying, what about this guy?
Yeah.
And if you don't sort of fall for that trap, then okay.
It's a final
Okay,
fucking
you've earned
test.
it. You've earned it. Now I'll be your husband. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's starting from the wrong sort of perspective, isn't it? Which is why I took the moral high ground. It didn't
Didn't
bring a best man. I thought, no, I'm not going to test my wife to be.
Dude, I fucked up by getting the best
Yeah,
man.
you've
Dude, what I should have done is just been so when they were to proceed with the ceremony, we just need your best man and your groomsmen and stuff. And I'll be like, best man? You're fucking looking at him.
I'm the best man.
All right, let's check out the origin for this one. It is said that during... What's that?
Feudal
Feudal
days.
days, it was possible that a rival lord would try to break up the wedding ceremony and steal the bride for political reasons. To avoid any trouble, grooms would ask their best friends to stand next to them during the ceremony so they would help during the possible battle. The man standing next to the groom was named best man.
Right.
So some fucking lord would come and be like, hang on, let me have a look at this one. Yeah, fucking have her. Or he would go like, hang on, fuck, get out of the way, I'm going to fight you for this one.
Well, I mean,
as if you want a self-esteem. Imagine being a chick that no lord tried to fucking break up the wedding. That's bullshit.
You wouldn't pick your best friend, would you? You'd pick some gnarly biker dude who knows how to use a gun. Like, if you're trying to sort of, stop this battle, win the battle, you're not going to pick your best mate. You're going to pick...
Also, do you think either of these fucking Fruit Loops would stop a lord from taking...
In that picture, that guy saying, you're on your own. See ya.
No, that dude's saying, like, I don't think the Lord wants this one.
That's right. Everything's going to be okay.
Patricia's fine, brother. He's not going to need me.
I think, Patricia does have a lot of good choices there because they're wearing like an aqua tie. Like that's...
And those suit jackets are so fucking long. Look how, like, what were they made? What's he wearing? Are they fucking wearing their... It's like they're adults, but they're still wearing their dad's jacket.
Yeah.
Oversized. Yeah.
The best man. There you go.
Well, fucking...
I think there's something in that for all of us, Marky.
Just in case the Lord tries to taketh. Oh, fuck yeah. That wraps up the podcast, man. So you've got a show in the Canberra Comedy Festival. Let's do the plugs at the end here, coming up this year.
Go now. Go.
Yeah.
Go. 15th of March, Street Theatre, Street 2, 9 p.m. is my show, Immature. I'm mature. Immature, I'm mature.
I've seen the poster. It's a great play. I'm going to put the poster up here for people to see.
Thank you. And so, I think it is a show talking about me that, like we were talking about before, I've probably never really grown up. I've certainly never really taken anything seriously, but I have, physically grown up. I've got the armpit hair to show it, Marky, but I have grown up, but I haven't really. And I think that's what I like about comedy is that, it's the one place where it's okay to be a bit childish and immature, and I quite like it. I think it's taken me a long time to realise it's okay to be a bit silly and stupid. And that's good about comedy, isn't it? Like,
yeah, you feel like you can. It feels like a space where you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
No matter what, like, it's not, like a lot of people will actually mask how they truly feel, and they don't have a creative outlet to like exercise that. Whereas comedy, like if I want to do something, I can just go up and try it out. If I think something's funny, I can do it.
Yeah,
it's good for the soul.
Yeah, you could explore the things that you do that are pretty silly. You can sort of have an outlet for talking about things that otherwise you wouldn't talk about in polite conversation, so to speak. But then, you can make things up as well, and you can. I think, comedy's great for that. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good. Last year was sold out, so I hope to do the same again. But
perfect.
I had to say that, didn't I? Can I plug
real
something?
fucking mature?
Can I plug something else?
Oh, it depends on what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Plug. And ironically, what I want to plug is you.
Oh.
But literally plug, not the metaphoric plug. Mark, you do great stuff for Canberra comedy, and I think it's incumbent on, and I'm sure other people do this on the podcast, but I think what you do is really appreciated. And I did say that at the start, so I've just made a noise there. You do a lot of hard work, and I ran a room for a very short period of time. It's pretty exhausting. Like it's pretty hard work to sort of go and set things up, do the lineups, all that sort of stuff, do the MCing work. It's pretty exhausting. And I think, you're now running like 10,000 rooms, aren't you? 10,000 or?
Close, yeah. By the time of this podcast release, it'll be 10,000.
9,000. Anyway, I want to say thanks for the work that you do, because there's a lot of work, and it gives people like me stage time. And that's pretty important, mate. And I think, you sort of bring people on here and they spend, I don't know, time talking about themselves, but I don't know if you get a chance to talk about you. And I think that's really that's really commendable. You know, it's sort of sometimes the unsung heroes, Marky, that don't get talked about enough. You know, like Mother Teresa, but well, she got a sainthood, but you don't have one of those, do you? Or a sainthood?
Nah. See,
have you done any miracles or?
See, unlike Mother Teresa, I'm not a fucking weird cunt. So
I have heard that she actually wanted. Yeah, I've heard that she let people suffer, like what you do with comedy. You let us suffer, but to feel the love of God, that was part of her shtick, was letting people suffer. So
yeah,
I talk about her being actually pretty nasty, pretty mean. Yeah.
I think that, yeah, well, see, to be a saint, you also need to make yourself seem better than other people.
Yep.
Whereas I'm more of like the people's saint. I'm here to fucking make you feel better about yourself, but at the cost of myself. Yeah. I'm not here to try and uplift myself.
Look, I'm going to put a petition to the Catholic Church that you do, because you do some... sorry, all seriousness.
I actually have a poem.
While you're getting that, I'm just going to keep talking about how good a job you do, Marky. And look, it really is appreciated, mate. And I think hats off to you and the work you do.
Here's a poem. Can you read that as we close it out?
Yeah. Anyway, people are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Love them anyway. If you are successful, you may win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and transparency make you vulnerable. Be honest and transparency anyway. Be honest and transparent anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. Give the world your best you have and you may get hurt. Give the world your best anyway. Mother Teresa.
There we go. So
I was just sitting there.
Like it's just sitting there. Something I like to live by. But yeah,
you're my Mother Teresa, Mark. Yeah.
The people's Mother Teresa, closing out the show. Thanks very much for your kind words, Jeremy. I do appreciate it. And I know it is appreciated by people, and I know that sometimes they don't always say it, but I can tell that people appreciate it, and that's why I do good anyway. So
anyway, Mother Teresa. Anyway.
Welcome to 2025. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Cheers. Buy me a drink.
Just name names.
Yeah, right. Big time. Fucking thrown out a strip club with your floppy disk.
Yeah, you got a big beard, dude.
Shame for shit all day.
Me and my best friend, Marky Worthington.
Keep it simple. Count your money.
That they're not proud of.
Just give me $10.
Hey, right.
Click.
Did you hang up?
No, I just said click.